Ever wondered if your morning jog could secretly be harming your heart? I'm diving into a shocking truth today. Some of the healthy habits you swear by might be your biggest health risks. Think that 6 a.m. run or those 10,000 steps are keeping you fit. What if I told you they could be pushing your heart to the brink? In this podcast, we're uncovering hidden dangers in everyday routines, from yoga poses sending folks to the ER to outdated exercise advice that's stuck in the past. We'll explore game-changing secrets, like a 90-second heart reset that could add years to your life, and why your grandkids might be your best trainers. If you're over 50 and worried about staying active without risking your health, this is for you. Stick with me to learn how to move smarter, not harder, and protect your heart with science-backed tips that'll transform how you think about fitness. Let's get started. Your heart can't wait. I guarantee that the last part may change your view of exercise for older adults. 1. Picture Arthur, 65, a devoted marathoner who embodied dedication itself. Every morning at 6 a.m. sharp, he'd hit the pavement like clockwork. The picture of health, right? Well, one crisp Tuesday, Arthur didn't come back from his run. He collapsed mid-stride. A passerby's CPR skills saved his life, but Arthur's heart bore the scars, shattering his faith in an invincible routine. What went wrong for Arthur reveals a hidden danger lurking in that seemingly virtuous dawn jog. That crisp morning air you love? For arteries that have weathered decades, it acts like an icy vice, causing sudden constriction. Picture a water pipe abruptly narrowing, pressure skyrockets, forcing your heart into overdrive precisely when it's least prepared. Simultaneously, cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone, naturally peaks in early morning hours. This isn't a gentle wake-up call. It's an aggressive physiological nudge that renders heart rhythms unstable. Combined with cold constricted blood vessels, you're essentially flooring the accelerator while pinching the fuel line. Something's got to give. The statistics paint a grim picture. Studies consistently show a dramatic spike in heart attacks and strokes between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. This isn't coincidence, it's physiology. Your body transitions from rest to activity during this vulnerable window, creating a perfect storm for cardiac events. So when is the golden hour for exercise? Between 10 a.m. and noon. By this time, cortisol levels have stabilized, body temperature has risen, blood vessels have relaxed, and you're physiologically primed for safe, effective movement. Think of it as your heart's happy hour. This doesn't ban all morning activity. Gentle indoor stretching or a calm walk once the day warms up differs vastly from intense, heart-pumping, crack of dawn exercise. Before lacing up those sneakers tomorrow at dawn, ask yourself, is this jog for health, or is ego writing checks your heart can't cash? Sometimes hitting snooze might be the healthiest decision you make all day. The truth about exercise timing represents just one piece of a larger puzzle. Many healthy habits we've accepted without question deserve serious scrutiny. That yoga class everyone raves about, those 10,000 daily steps your fitness tracker demands, even that heart-healthy Mediterranean diet might not be as universally beneficial as you've been told. The key lies not in abandoning activity, but in understanding how your aging body actually responds to different types of movement and timing. Your cardiovascular system at 65 operates under entirely different rules than it did at 25, yet most exercise advice ignores this fundamental reality. Smart movement means working with your body's natural rhythms, not against them. 2. Eleanor's yoga mat became her highway to the emergency room. At 72, this retired librarian was diligently practicing downward-facing dog in her golden years yoga class when the studio lights began swimming and intense head pressure struck. Minutes later, she was being treated for a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke triggered by what seemed like the gentlest of poses. The culprit? Inversion physiology that yoga instructors rarely discuss. When you flip upside down, even mildly, gravity forces blood toward your head like water rushing through a suddenly tilted pipe. For aging arteries that have lost their youthful elasticity, this creates a pressure spike similar to kinking a garden hose. The pressure builds until something gives way. George, a 68-year-old retired engineer, discovered another hidden yoga hazard during a seated spinal twist. His instructor encouraged a deepening hold, and George felt his chest flutter alarmingly, followed by dizziness that lingered all day. His doctor later confirmed an episode of atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat that can lead to stroke-causing blood clots. Deep twists compress major blood vessels while irritating the vagus nerve, your body's internal reset button that controls heart rate. Think of it as a sensitive lever. Apply pressure in the wrong spot or for too long, and it sends your heart's rhythm into chaos. Sometimes this means sudden drops in heart rate and blood pressure, causing fainting. Other times, it triggers dangerous arrhythmias like George experienced. The vagus nerve response reveals yoga's hidden complexity, designed to calm us through specific breathing and positioning, overstimulation through certain neck angles, or breath holding during challenging poses backfire spectacularly. What's marketed as stress relief becomes vasovagal syncope, medical speak for fainting from overstimulated nerves. Shoulder stands and plow poses dramatically increase pressure in your head and chest cavity. For someone with underlying hypertension or arterial stiffness, these gentle inversions become cardiovascular Russian roulette. The blood pressure spike can rupture weakened vessels or trigger dangerous clots. The fundamental problem lies in yoga's one-size-fits-all approach that ignores aging physiology. A 30-year-old's flexible arteries handle inversions and deep twists differently than vessels that have spent 7 decades adapting to gravity's constant pull. Yet most classes treat all bodies identically. Pushing the deeper is better mentality that transforms therapeutic movement into medical risk. Even restorative yoga poses can trigger unexpected responses in older practitioners. Extended holds in twisted positions compress blood flow while stimulating pressure receptors that evolve to handle brief, natural movements, not sustained artificial positioning. Your cardiovascular system interprets these prolonged poses as potential threats, activating stress responses that defeat yoga's intended purpose. The irony runs deeper than most realize. While yoga promises mind-body harmony, certain practices create physiological discord in aging systems. The ancient poses were developed for younger, more flexible bodies in different cultural contexts, not for modern seniors managing multiple medications and age-related cardiovascular changes. Understanding these hidden mechanisms doesn't mean abandoning yoga entirely. Instead, it means recognizing that your 65-year-old cardiovascular system operates under different rules than your 25-year-old body did. Smart practice means choosing poses that work with your current physiology rather than against it, avoiding inversions and extreme twists that challenge already stressed systems. The lesson extends beyond yoga mats to every aspect of senior health advice. When even supposedly gentle, mindful practices carry unexpected risks, it becomes clear that aging requires a fundamental shift in how we approach wellness. Your body's needs have evolved. Your exercise choices should evolve with them, guided by understanding rather than assumption. 3. That ubiquitous step-counting device, a fixture on countless wrists, often chirps with an almost sacred wellness commandment. Thou shalt walk 10,000 steps a day. This directive, promising a golden ticket to longevity, warrants scrutiny, particularly as the years advance. The origin of this 10,000-step mantra isn't from groundbreaking cardiovascular research. It was a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer in the 1960s called Monpike, which translates to 10,000 steps meter. Catchy marketing sold pedometers, but as a universal prescription for heart health in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, the science gets wobbly. Consider this. Cardiac stress tests are designed to see how your heart responds under controlled, increasing demand. Relentlessly chasing an arbitrary number can inadvertently put your heart through a prolonged, low-grade stress test day after day. For an aging heart muscle, which naturally has less elasticity and slower repair mechanisms, this overwalking can lead to micro-tears. These aren't dramatic, fall-to-the-floor events, but subtle, cumulative strains. like stretching a favorite old sweater too hard. Too often, those fibers eventually give. This brings us to exercise debt. When you're younger, your body recovers like a financial whiz with fantastic income, quickly paying back intense exercise debt. After 60, that recovery metabolism isn't as zippy. The interest on exercise debt in the form of fatigue, inflammation, and micro tears compounds faster. Slogging through those last few thousand steps just to hit the magic number might actually deplete your reserves rather than build them. One 72-year-old gentleman was a devotee of the 10,000-step rule, pacing his garden for hours if he was short. He came in feeling perpetually wrung out, and his heart rate variability, a key indicator of cardiac health and stress adaptation, was surprisingly poor for someone so active. We had him cut his step target almost in half, focusing on quality over quantity. Within a month, he reported feeling more energetic, and his HRV showed marked improvement. The alternative to blindly following a marketing number is the 3-2-1 rule for safe and effective daily movement as we age. The 3 represents 3,000 to 5,000 quality steps on most days, emphasizing brisk, purposeful walking rather than shuffling to accumulate numbers. It's about the intensity in your step, not just the count. The 2 incorporates 2 different types of beneficial activity into your routine, or breaking movement into 2 shorter, distinct sessions rather than one potentially exhausting marathon. A good walk, yes, but maybe also gentle strength work with resistance bands or balance exercises. The idea is variety and avoiding sustained, monotonous strain. The 1 represents 1 dedicated day of active recovery or significantly lighter activity per week. More fundamentally, it signifies 1 overarching principle: listen to your body above all else. If you're tired, truly tired, pushing for an arbitrary number is counterproductive. That device on your wrist doesn't know about your poor night's sleep or the stressful phone call that drained your energy. This approach works with your aging physiology, not against it. It finds that sweet spot where movement is medicine, not another stressor. It shifts from quantity obsession to quality engagement. The next time your fitness tracker buzzes impatiently, where you see that 10,000-step goal looming, pause. Ask yourself, is this number truly serving your heart, your energy levels, your well-being today? Or are you just serving the number? The answer might lead you to a healthier, more enjoyable relationship with movement that honors where your body actually is, rather than where a marketing campaign thinks it should be. 4. Picture Mrs. Sato, 88 years young, in her small garden in Okinawa. She's not working out in any way we'd recognize. She's tending her Goya plants, squatting to check soil moisture, reaching for pruning shears, carrying small watering cans. Later, she'll spend an hour in her kitchen, standing while chopping vegetables, stirring pots with deliberate movements. Then comes her unhurried walk to the local market, pausing to chat with neighbors, baskets swinging gently at her side. Mrs. Sato has never owned a gym membership. She's never counted steps or monitored heart rate zones. Yet she, along with thousands like her in these longevity hotspots, consistently outperforms dedicated gym goers in cardiovascular health. Her secret? She's mastered what scientists call non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, though she never used such fancy terminology. She just calls it living. Your grocery shopping trip contains more cardiovascular gold than you might realize. When you navigate those aisles, you're not just walking. You're reaching overhead for items on high shelves, engaging shoulders and core muscles. You're performing modified squats when bending for items on lower shelves. You're providing light resistance training while pushing that cart, especially when it decides to pull left. And carrying those bags home? That's functional strength training with a purpose. One retired gentleman I know, Kenji, discovered this accidentally. His doctor had been nagging him about exercise, but formal workouts felt like punishment. Instead, Kenji began treating his twice-weekly trips to the bustling fish market as his sashimi circuit. The brisk walk there, the careful selection process involving lots of pointing and animated discussion with vendors, and carrying his purchases home in traditional cloth wrapping kept his blood pressure more stable than any gym routine ever had. This approach works because it mimics how our cardiovascular system actually prefers to function. Think of your heart like a campfire rather than a blast furnace. A blast furnace burns intensely for short periods, then goes cold. A campfire maintains steady, consistent warmth throughout the day. Your heart thrives on that campfire approach, the constant, gentle hum of activity rather than intense bursts followed by prolonged stillness. Consider the fascinating case of UK postal workers. Those who walked their routes daily showed significantly better metabolic profiles and lower cardiac risk than colleagues with desk jobs, even when the desk workers compensated with after-work gym sessions. The sustained, moderate activity throughout the day made all the difference. It's not about peak performance, it's about consistent engagement. Your daily routine is already packed with cardiovascular opportunities you've been overlooking. That trip upstairs with laundry, you're doing interval training with functional resistance. Playing on the floor with grandchildren, you're working on flexibility, balance, and core strength. Standing while cooking dinner instead of sitting, you're activating your entire posterior chain and improving circulation. The beauty of this approach lies in its sustainability and safety. These activities rarely push you into that risky red zone of overexertion. They keep your blood flowing, prevent pooling in your legs, maintain muscle tone, and most importantly, they feel natural rather than forced. Your body recognizes these movements as purposeful rather than arbitrary. This doesn't mean you should abandon structured exercise if you enjoy it and it works for you. But it does mean recognizing that the most powerful cardiovascular medicine might already be woven into your daily life. The Okinawans aren't exercising. They're living actively and purposefully, and their hearts are thanking them for it. Start noticing the hidden movement opportunities in your routine. Could you take phone calls while standing? Park a bit farther from store entrances? Take stairs when available? Choose the shopping cart over the basket? These small shifts compound over time, creating a foundation of cardiovascular health that's both sustainable and enjoyable. Your heart doesn't need you to become an athlete. It needs you to become someone who moves naturally, consistently, and purposefully throughout the day. Sometimes the best medicine doesn't come in a bottle or require special equipment. Sometimes it just requires seeing your daily life through new eyes. 5. The science of how our hearts age has taken giant leaps in recent years, but most exercise guidelines are still catching up. It's like using a 2004 roadmap to navigate today's city. You'll get somewhere, but you might miss all the efficient routes and drive into unexpected dead ends. Consider heart rate variability, or HRV. This isn't your average heart rate that fitness trackers monitor. HRV measures the subtle variation in time between your heartbeats. Think of it like this. A healthy, resilient heart is like a nimble jazz musician, able to improvise and adapt its rhythm to whatever life throws at it. A low HRV is more like a metronome, rigidly sticking to one beat. As we age, our HRV naturally tends to decrease, making our hearts less adaptable. The problem? Some traditional exercise advice, especially when it pushes too hard, too often, can actually lower your HRV further. A 70-year-old diligently following the get your heart rate up and keep it there mantra might inadvertently stress their system, making their heart less adaptable, not more. It's not about the average beats per minute, but the beautiful, subtle dance between those beats. Then there's the fascinating world of mitochondria, the cellular power plants packed into your heart muscle. As we age, these tiny engines become less efficient, like old batteries that don't hold their charge as well. The no pain, no gain philosophy can be particularly brutal for aging mitochondria. Pushing an older body to its absolute limits isn't always building strength. Sometimes it's like flooring the accelerator in a vintage car. You might just be causing more wear and tear on an already delicate engine. Research now shows that for seniors, the type and timing of activity can profoundly impact mitochondrial health. Instead of relentless, high-intensity efforts, the focus is shifting towards activities that gently encourage mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new, healthy mitochondria, without overwhelming existing ones. It's less about a full-blown furnace and more about keeping a steady, warm fire burning. Arthur, a gentleman in his late 60s, was a firm believer in pushing through. He hit the gym hard, convinced that without sweating buckets and feeling sore, it wasn't working. His doctor encouraged his vigorous activity using standard guidelines. But Arthur started feeling perpetually fatigued, his sleep suffered, and he lost his zest for life. A deeper dive revealed his HRV was consistently low, and markers suggested his system was under chronic stress. The gain he was chasing was actually leading to systemic strain. This isn't about dismissing medical advice wholesale. Healthcare providers work with available information and guidelines. But cutting-edge cardiac science for seniors paints a much more nuanced picture. The old more is always better and feel the burn approach might inadvertently sideline the very people it's trying to help by not accounting for intricate physiological shifts in the aging heart. Your heart isn't just a smaller, weaker version of a young heart. It's a fundamentally different physiological landscape that responds beautifully to understanding rather than force. The revolution in senior cardiac health isn't about doing more. It's about doing better, smarter, and with respect for the remarkable complexity of your aging cardiovascular system. The most effective approach often involves gentle, consistent movement that honors your body's current capacity while gradually expanding it. Think of those Okinawan centenarians whose exercise wasn't about pain, but about participation in life. A fantastic mitochondrial treatment that kept their hearts jazzy well into their golden years. 6. The most remarkable cardiovascular intervention might take less time than brewing your morning coffee. While most people chase complex exercise routines or expensive supplements, a growing number of cardiologists quietly recommend something far simpler. A 90-second technique that can literally reset your heart's rhythm and potentially add healthy years to your life. This isn't about mystical breathing or complicated movements. It's about cardiac coherence, the synchronized harmony between your heart, lungs, and brain. When these systems work in perfect rhythm, blood pressure normalizes, heart rhythm stabilizes, and your entire cardiovascular system operates with remarkable efficiency. When they're out of sync, stress hormones flood your system, blood pressure spikes, and your heart works overtime just to maintain basic function. The key lies in your vagus nerve, the master conductor of your body's relaxation response. This remarkable nerve acts like a direct hotline between your brain and heart. Stimulate it correctly, and it sends powerful calming signals throughout your cardiovascular system, triggering what researchers call the relaxation response, a measurable shift in heart rate variability that can be detected on medical equipment within minutes. The technique itself requires no equipment, no special location, and works whether you're sitting in traffic or lying in bed. Here's exactly how it works. Position yourself comfortably with uncrossed arms and legs. Imagine a gentle thread lifting the crown of your head, creating a subtle spine elongation without rigid posture. Feel your connection to whatever surface supports you. This grounding creates the foundation for cardiovascular coherence. Begin breathing slowly through your nose for approximately 5 seconds, allowing your abdomen to expand naturally. The exhale becomes the magic moment. Release the breath through your mouth for 6 to 7 seconds, as if gently fogging a mirror. During this extended exhale, add a soft, barely audible hum deep in your chest. Think of the lowest note on a cello vibrating through your ribcage. This internal vibration directly stimulates the vagus nerve, triggering measurable changes in heart rate variability within seconds. The extended exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, while the gentle humming creates resonance that amplifies the vagal response. Continue this pattern for exactly 90 seconds, roughly 6 to 8 complete breath cycles. That's the sweet spot where physiological changes become measurable and sustainable. The results can be dramatic. Frank, a 68-year-old executive facing aggressive cardiac interventions, started using this technique 4 times daily. Within 3 weeks, his cardiologist documented significant improvements in blood pressure variability and resting heart rate. Frank described it as someone finally turning down the background noise in his cardiovascular system. Sarah, 72, suffered from evening palpitations that left her anxious about sleep. Her integrative cardiologist suggested this 90-second reset. Initially skeptical, she committed to the practice. Not only did her palpitations virtually disappear, but she gained something equally valuable: the confidence of having an immediate tool for cardiovascular control accessible anywhere, anytime. The technique works because it addresses the root cause of many age-related cardiovascular issues: autonomic nervous system imbalance. As we age, our sympathetic nervous system, responsible for fight-or-flight responses, often becomes hyperactive, while our parasympathetic system, responsible for rest and recovery, weakens. This 90-second reset specifically strengthens parasympathetic function while calming sympathetic overdrive. Research shows that consistent practice can improve heart rate variability, reduce blood pressure fluctuations, and enhance overall cardiovascular resilience. Some patients report that this simple technique became the cornerstone of broader lifestyle changes that help them avoid more invasive medical procedures. The beauty lies in its accessibility and immediacy. Feeling overwhelmed in a meeting? 90 seconds. Waking with anxiety? 90 seconds. Traffic stress? 90 seconds. You're essentially training your cardiovascular system to find its natural equilibrium on command. Set a phone reminder for twice daily practice this week. Pay attention to how you feel before and after each session. Notice changes in your overall sense of cardiovascular calm. Many people discover that something this simple can indeed make a profound difference in how their aging heart responds to daily stresses. Your heart has been beating faithfully for decades, adapting to countless challenges and changes. This 90-second gift of coherence might just be the reset button it's been waiting for, a way to honor all those years of service while supporting many healthy years ahead. 7. Picture this. You're soaking in what feels like liquid paradise, a warm pool, steamy sauna, or bubbling hot tub. Your muscles are melting, your stress is evaporating, and life feels pretty darn good. But while you're floating in bliss, your heart might be staging its own little drama behind the scenes. Let's start with that innocent community pool. Swimming gets the gold star as the perfect senior exercise. Low impact, joint friendly, doctor approved. And it truly is wonderful, except for one sneaky detail called hydrostatic pressure. Think of water as giving your entire body a gentle, even squeeze from all directions. This aquatic bear hug pushes blood from your arms and legs back toward your heart, essentially increasing the volume your heart suddenly needs to pump. For a younger heart, no problem. For an aging heart that might be running a bit less efficiently, it's like unexpectedly asking it to lift heavier weights without warning. Take Brenda, a 74-year-old water aerobics enthusiast who couldn't figure out why she felt breathless after her gentle workouts. The culprit wasn't the movement, it was that constant water pressure giving her heart an extra workout it hadn't signed up for. Now let's talk about those steamy seducers, saunas and hot tubs. That penetrating heat feels like heaven on achy joints, but here's the cardiovascular plot twist. Intense heat causes your blood vessels, especially those near your skin, to dilate dramatically. Imagine all your body's little pipes suddenly opening wide. This creates a rapid drop in blood pressure, forcing your heart to beat faster and harder to maintain adequate blood flow to your brain and vital organs. It's like flooring the gas pedal while your fuel tank develops a leak. This brings us to the rather alarming hot tub heart attack phenomenon. While not always a full myocardial infarction, the rapid blood pressure and heart rate changes, combined with dehydration from sweating, can trigger serious cardiac events: arrhythmias, fainting, or severe chest pain. Robert, a 70-year-old regular sauna user, discovered this firsthand when he felt dizzy and collapsed during his usual session. His blood pressure had plummeted dangerously low. The problem often compounds when people overstay their welcome. A quick 5-minute dip is manageable, but a 30-minute sweat session puts your cardiovascular system through an entirely different stress test. Then there's thermal shock, the cardiovascular roller coaster of going from cool poolside to scorching hot tub, or from blazing sauna to frigid plunge pool. Your blood vessels constrict, dilate, then constrict again in rapid succession. For an older heart that's lost some youthful elasticity, these sudden demands can be overwhelming. The solution isn't swearing off water and warmth forever, but engaging smartly. For pools, lukewarm water around 82 to 88 degrees Fahrenheit works best. Anything too cold can shock your system just as much. Enter gradually, giving your body time to adjust. Hot tubs should be more warm than hot. Keep temperatures below 100 degrees if possible. Duration matters enormously. 5 to 10 minutes is often plenty. Never soak alone and hydrate before, during, and after. Saunas follow similar rules. Moderate temperatures, short sessions, and immediate exit if you feel dizzy or unwell. Here's something most doctors never mention. Your daily medications can completely rewrite these safety rules. Blood pressure medications, heart pills, even diabetes drugs can interact with heat and water pressure in unexpected ways. That innocent blood pressure pill might make you more susceptible to dangerous drops in a hot tub. Diuretics can accelerate dehydration in saunas. Always discuss these activities with your healthcare provider, especially if you're on multiple medications. The key question to ask yourself before stepping into any heated water environment: how am I feeling right now? Not just physically, but considering your hydration status, recent meals, current medications, and overall energy level. Your body usually gives subtle signals if it's not ready for additional cardiovascular stress. Remember, these activities can be wonderfully therapeutic when approached thoughtfully. The goal isn't to eliminate life's simple pleasures, but to enjoy them safely. Your heart has been faithfully serving you for decades. It deserves the courtesy of not being ambushed by preventable stressors. A little awareness and preparation can keep those relaxing moments truly relaxing for both your mind and your cardiovascular system. 8. Those daily medications, the very shields prescribed to protect your heart, can paradoxically morph into hidden saboteurs during exercise, silently rewriting the rules of physical engagement. Beta blockers present the most deceptive challenge. These workhorses for high blood pressure and post-cardiac events slow your heart rate and reduce its pumping force. Excellent for daily living, but they essentially install a governor on your cardiovascular system during exercise. Your heart rate won't climb as high or as quickly as it normally would, even when you're pushing hard. It's like your internal alarm system for overexertion has been muted. Consider 68-year-old Harold on a beta blocker, tackling a steep hill he used to walk easily. He's not gasping. His heart rate monitor shows reasonable numbers, so he continues. What he doesn't realize is his heart wants to work harder, but the medication artificially caps its response. He's flying blind, potentially overstressing his system without the usual rapid heartbeat warning. Meanwhile, 72-year-old Agnes in her new Zumba class feels she's not getting a good workout because her heart rate won't hit those target zones her instructor mentions. She pushes harder and harder, unaware her beta blocker is masking her true exertion level. Blood thinners create a different minefield. Beyond the obvious fall risks, these medications magnify consequences of seemingly minor impacts. That gentle yoga pose done awkwardly, a clumsy bump during home workouts, or carrying groceries with a jerking motion can have outsized effects. Richard, 75, and on warfarin, slightly strains his calf while gardening. For most people, it's a minor ache. For Richard, it develops into a painful, swollen hematoma that takes weeks to resolve because his blood won't clot readily. Here's the real curveball. Medication timing relative to exercise creates a ticking clock you didn't know was set. Take a diuretic and immediately go for a vigorous walk on a warm day before rehydrating properly, and you're courting dehydration and electrolyte chaos. Exercise when your blood pressure medication peaks, and you might experience dangerous drops in blood pressure, leading to dizziness or fainting. Michael, 78, takes his blood pressure pill with breakfast, then heads straight out for his power walk. Some days he feels unusually fatigued and dizzy halfway through. His medication is peaking, exercise is further lowering his pressure, and the combination overwhelms his system. Waiting a few hours might make all the difference. The solution isn't memorizing generic warnings, but creating your personalized medication-exercise compatibility strategy with your healthcare provider. Ask specific questions. How does this particular pill affect my body's normal response to exertion? Are warning signs of overexertion masked or altered? Is there an optimal exercise window based on my dosing schedule to avoid peak effects? This isn't about fear-mongering or abandoning activity. It's about transforming potential pharmaceutical plot twists into informed choreography between your medications and movement. Your heart deserves the courtesy of having all its protective systems working in harmony, not in hidden conflict. Before your next workout, examine your medication list alongside your exercise plan. Are they truly collaborating for your health? Or is there a silent standoff that needs professional mediation? The conversation with your healthcare provider could be the difference between exercise that truly protects your heart and activity that inadvertently challenges it. 9. Your grandchildren might be the most effective personal trainers you've never hired, and they don't charge by the hour or demand you count reps. Before you picture yourself attempting to match a 5-year-old's energy in a sprint, relax. This isn't about keeping up with their boundless enthusiasm, but about how their presence transforms your cardiovascular system in ways no traditional exercise program can replicate. When you're genuinely engaged with a child, something remarkable happens to your stress physiology. That spontaneous laughter when they tell you their stuffed elephant is actually a secret agent, or when you're both hiding under a blanket fort from imaginary dragons, triggers a cascade of heart-protective hormones. Your body releases endorphins and oxytocin while simultaneously suppressing cortisol, that persistent stress hormone we've identified as a cardiovascular villain. This isn't just feeling good, it's measurable cardioprotection happening in real time. Consider how children naturally create what exercise physiologists call interval training, except they do it organically. They'll sprint across the yard chasing bubbles, then suddenly stop to examine a caterpillar with the intensity of a research scientist. This stop-start rhythm perfectly mimics the cardiovascular benefits of structured interval training, allowing your heart to elevate and recover, without the mental pressure of formal exercise protocols. Take 67-year-old Margaret, who discovered that her grandson's obsession with being a dinosaur paleontologist transformed her daily walks. Instead of trudging along the same route, they were now crouching to dig for fossils in the garden, stretching to reach pterodactyl nests in low tree branches, and doing what he called T-Rex stomps across the living room. Her heart rate varied naturally throughout these adventures. Her joints moved through ranges of motion she hadn't used in years, and most importantly, her mind was so absorbed in the imaginative play that physical exertion felt incidental. The magic lies in what psychologists call flow state combined with social connection. When you're building a pillow fortress or having a kitchen dance party while making cookies, your nervous system shifts into a completely different mode than during solitary exercise. The social bonding releases additional oxytocin, which directly benefits your cardiovascular system by improving heart rate variability and reducing inflammation markers. Even seemingly sedentary activities become cardiovascular goldmines when filtered through a child's imagination. Reading a story becomes a full-body experience when you're voicing different characters, complete with gestures and facial expressions that engage your entire cardiovascular system. Playing balloon volleyball across the sofa involves gentle reaching, soft impacts, and constant laughter, creating a perfect low-impact workout that doesn't feel like work. The beauty of this approach is its sustainability. Unlike structured exercise programs that can feel like obligations, These interactions create positive emotional associations with movement. You're not exercising because you should, you're moving because you're having fun. This emotional shift can create a powerful feedback loop, making you more inclined toward activity in general. Research shows that grandparents who regularly engage in active play with grandchildren have lower rates of depression, better cognitive function, and improved cardiovascular markers compared to their peers who don't have these interactions. The combination of physical activity, social connection, and purposeful engagement creates a trifecta of heart health benefits that's difficult to replicate through traditional exercise alone. The key is recognizing these moments as legitimate cardiovascular exercise, not just family time. When your granddaughter insists you both march around the house like penguins, you're not just indulging her imagination, you're engaging in a form of movement therapy that benefits your heart, your mood, and your longevity. This doesn't replace other forms of physical activity, but it adds a dimension of joy and spontaneity that can make the difference between viewing movement as medicine versus movement as pleasure. And when exercise feels like play, consistency becomes effortless. Your heart doesn't distinguish between formal exercise and joyful movement. It simply responds to the demand, the emotional state, and the recovery patterns you provide. Sometimes the most effective cardiovascular workout comes disguised as a game of hide and seek or an impromptu living room dance party with someone who still believes in magic. 10. The most potent, universally practiced exercise by cardiologists is something most of us actively avoid: doing absolutely nothing. Strategically, this isn't about collapsing on the couch from exhaustion. This is scheduled, deliberate, unapologetic inactivity. Your heart has a cardiac repair window where it performs crucial maintenance, mending microscopic wear and tear and resetting electrical stability. But this window doesn't fully open if you're constantly on, whether physically pushing yourself or mentally wrestling with your to-do list. Even low-level chronic stress keeps this repair shop effectively closed. Think of a high-performance race car. The crew doesn't just run it until it breaks down. They schedule pit stops for refueling, changing tires, checking systems. That's what strategic rest is for your heart. It's preventative maintenance, not laziness. Consider Dr. Alastair Finch, a cardiac surgeon on his feet for hours making life or death decisions. His daily exercise? From 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., his office knows he's in a meeting with himself in a quiet room. No phone, no charts, just stillness. He calls it his cellular reset. Then there's Maria, a 70-year-old retired teacher who volunteered, gardened aggressively, and attended every social event. She felt perpetually wired. Her cardiologist prescribed enforced pauses. 15 minutes after vigorous gardening, she had to sit with herbal tea and watch clouds. No reading, no planning. Just being. Initially agonizing, within a month her erratic blood pressure readings stabilized. This brings us to the cardiac Sabbath, a dedicated period of rest and rejuvenation. Not just good sleep, but consciously stepping off the hamster wheel during waking hours. For some, it's an hour of quiet contemplation daily. For others, a no-demand afternoon weekly, free from chores, appointments, and even stimulating entertainment. Why is this powerful for seniors? As we age, our heart's natural repair mechanisms become less efficient. An older house needs more diligent upkeep. By intentionally reducing the load through zero-demand periods, you give your heart optimal conditions for self-healing. You prevent accumulation of small damages that eventually become bigger problems, like preventing a small dam crack from becoming catastrophic breach by repairing it when water pressure is low. This exercise of strategic rest isn't about adding another to-do to your list. It's recognizing the profound biological necessity of not doing. Recovery isn't just a passive byproduct of stopping. It's an active, vital process requiring cultivation. Can you schedule 15 minutes today of deliberate, unapologetic nothingness? No phone, no chores, no shoulds. Just being. It might be the most productive thing you do for your heart all day. This becomes your first line of defense against the chronic, low-grade fires that can smolder within your cardiovascular system. The beauty of this approach lies in its accessibility. You don't need special equipment, gym memberships, or perfect weather. You need only the radical act of permission. Permission to pause in a world that profits from your perpetual motion. Your heart has been waiting patiently for this gift of stillness, this chance to perform its quiet miracles of renewal.